Maritime Anti-Corruption Network, a BSR collaborative initiative that we established with its founding members in 2012 as an industry-wide response to tackling corruption. And then we'll hear from a very special guest, the UN Assistant Secretary General in the UNDP, Mr. Magdy Martínez-Solimán, who will speak about the role of public-private partnership in tackling global challenges. Let me just begin by briefly contextualizing the challenge we're seeking to address. Corruption is often referred to as a cancer that weakens societies, impedes development, and disrupts the competitiveness of economies. Recent research shows that corporate leaders rate it as the top impediment to conducting business in 22 countries. Today, we see major advances in the regulatory framework with far more reaching national regulations, new company disclosure requirements, and increasing enforcement of existing laws. So it's ever more critical to have robust corporate compliance programs in place. But even the best corporate compliance program will struggle in the reality of corrupt operating environments. As we'll hear from Magdy, it's imperative that the private sector must collectively be part of the solution to prevent and fight corruption through a sustained process of cooperation among stakeholders that actively promotes uniform anti-corruption standards and creates a level playing field for compliance. For the industry that literally carries world trade, the global maritime value chain is highly exposed to different forms of corruption, including through ports where demands for facilitation payments are deeply embedded in the culture. So 2 years ago, and spearheaded by our partners at Maersk, we worked with a handful of shipping companies to develop the Maritime Anti-Corruption Network. Today, there are over 45 member companies involved, working together to tackle corruption. The model of the initiative drives two main outcomes. First, the network has created a safe forum where legal, compliance, and sustainability team members can support each other on improving their own anti-corruption programs through the development of shared tools and best practices. Secondly, MACN is collaborating with key stakeholders to identify and mitigate the root causes of corruption. We've established a corruption risk assessment and recommended action plans through a framework in partnership with the UNDP via our first collective action program in Nigeria. And now we're commencing new projects in Argentina and the Ukraine. As Anne-Marie Slaughter said at the BSR conference 2 years ago here in New York, we're at the cusp of a new era of tri-sector cooperation. I'm really pleased to be working on such cooperation with the UNDP and other civil society actors in country. And we look forward to continuing the partnership approach to transforming operating environments that drive positive impact for society and for global trade. On that note, please join me in welcoming Mr. Magdy Martínez-Solimán from the UNDP.
Thank you, Angie. This is a call to action, as Angie just said, a call against a cancer, a call for health, and a call for integrity. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is a pleasure to be with you today and to have the opportunity to speak on the strategic role of public-private partnerships in fighting the cancer. The joint effort of the United Nations Development Programme, UNDP, launched in 2012 with the Maritime Anti-Corruption Network, is already one such public-private partnership. Following the perspectives shared by MACN, I would like to complete the picture by focusing on three lessons that resonate at the public side of the partnership. And I would like to then propose 3 points for our collective partnership action. On the lessons, first and foremost, when we look at development trends over the last decades, it is clearer and clearer that governments alone cannot achieve national development priorities or internationally agreed development goals like the Millennium Development Goals or others. Public-private partnerships, the triple Ps, are crucial in efforts to address complex challenges. And I will talk quite a bit about complexity this afternoon. In the midst of increasing pressures on public budgets, ever watchful public audiences and congresses and parliaments, Striving to meet increasing demand for more and better public services, the private sector presents models that are tremendously helpful to the public administration, to elected officials, to government. The corporate world brings not only investment, finance and capital, but also innovative approaches, normative frameworks and technical expertise to the fight against corruption. IT experts, insurance, banking, finance experts, costing experts, infrastructure experts, the list goes on and on. Second, in the fight against corruption, everyone has a stake. Businesses, large and small, require an enabling environment to support growth, jobs, trade, and innovation. Only bad business thrives in an atmosphere of traffic of influence, privileged access to information, and widespread bribery. That's the businesses afraid to compete because they can't win fair and square against the competition. All other businesses, the medium enterprises, the startups, the big ones, the innovators, those who play by the rules, want the state to enforce the rules. So the question is, are you afraid to compete, or are you happy to play the integrity game? This is the reason why the UN, through the UN Global Compact, engaged businesses that are committed to aligning their operations and strategies with 10 universally accepted principles in the areas of human rights, labor rights, environmental sustainability, gender equality, and anti-corruption. Third, corruption is a complex challenge that requires complexity thinking, foresight, collective integrated action, including global advocacy, national governance reform, greater civic participation, watchdogs, rule of law, and more importantly, strong leadership to build transparent coalitions between the public and the private sectors. According to the Institute of Business Ethics Media Monitoring Report 2013, bribery and facilitation payments are the most common reported issues among firms in different sectors. The sectors usually reported as the most prone to corruption are those that are critical for achieving sustainable development and democratic governance. Extractive industries, defense and security, big pharma, and broadcast media. If you work for or with any of these sectors, we need you even more as advocates, as activists, and as practitioners of the integrity agenda. So what do? We know that it won't happen without business. I would like to highlight 3 possible ways in which it should happen with business. First, leadership can instill a culture of integrity, transparency, and accountability, but it needs to preach by example. Ethical leaders, both in public and private sectors, are essential in promoting innovation, fair trade and commerce, integrity, and clean hands business practices connected to clean hands government rule. Second, let us protect the public marketplace for starters, where the state buys from the private sector. It's called procurement. Ethical, competitive, and transparent procurement is a good way to prove that private corporations compete and the state buys value for money. Another good show of visibility is the disclosure of taxes and revenues paid by the private sector to governments. Publish what you pay should be applicable to our work at all levels. It helps business, and it also helps citizens know what their government has cashed in, and hence what they will do with the public purse. And third, noting that the model presented by the UNDP Maritime Anti-Corruption Network Partnership is a good one, let us multiply, let us mushroom partnerships to make the movement stronger. UNDP is committed to this partnership. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Magdy. If you'd like to learn more about MACN or BSR's suite of collaborative initiatives more generally, please visit the BSR Connect booth during the next 2 days, and also join us at the Collaborative Initiatives Food for Thought dinner this evening. Thanks very much.